Okay, I was recording a video about Everett Ruess books, and I got a phone call, and my phone just automatically hangs up on whatever video I'm making when that happens. So maybe the internet will do its magic, and eventually Samsung will hear this complaint because they search for complaints with algorithm searching AI. Let them know that I do not like that feature and would like to know how to turn it off if possible. This book is very interesting. Some people dismissed this book, and I think it got some negative reviews when it came out because it's very fanciful in daring to theorize what happened to Everett Ruess. Each chapter is kind of a different possibility. And this guy has a lot of theories. He travels around the West. He meets people that have original Everett Ruess prints, this great block print style. And his lithographs still exist. Ansel Adams was a fan. Edward Weston was a fan. Maynard Dixon, Dorothea Lange. People knew how cool this guy was. I feel like I can relate to him because he liked to spend time in society till he got sick of it and then go out and spend time in nature till he got sick of it. That's a balance I can kind of understand. It's not like you get sick of nature, but you miss society, you know? It's not like you totally get sick of society, but it does wear on you after a while, you know? The binding is crappy on this book. That makes me sad. Well, there are other woodcuts in here. He had a really cool style. And he was a good photographer. He was just an artist. He was an all-around artist. His work is not just interesting to me because he was this nomadic figure. He was always an interesting person. But he also had a real recklessness of youth. Like, he would climb to cliff houses just... Yeah, I kind of think he meant to disappear because carving Nemo before he left seems really intentional. And he did mention his desire. In fact, in his last letter before he disappeared, he was like, "Farewell, now I vanish into the desert." Come on. He wrote letters to his brother Waldo, who lived a long life and always searched for him. The Wild mentions that Ruess was sighted in the 50s or 60s or something in Europe, in a men's room at an airport. I think he disappeared intentionally, lived in the desert, on the edges of society for like a while, and then died from his recklessness and just the chance of what he was doing. I mean, there were still groups at the time, like Native American groups, that would kill you if you were in their territory. It was almost like less a residual tribal mentality and more like a modern day gang of outlaws, kind of. Like, there's places you just wouldn't want to go, you know, if you were of this or that demographic. Everett Ruess, his brother called him the original hippie, and he kind of was. He dressed eccentrically a little bit. I mean, just because he was dressing for expeditions, kind of an Indiana Jones type a little bit. Wrote these extravagant letters. He was very Thoreauvian. Chapter on him in here. I talked about it in a different video. This is the best book to get. I got a teenage hiker to buy this summer because we were all freaking out about Everett Ruess. I had this old out-of-print book that I had borrowed from the camp library. And it was so good. We all read it, and we read it right where he might have last disappeared, near some of his final Nemos in an offshoot of the Escalante River, camping right in a clearing. I mean, we've walked by a cliff house that I could have sworn had something scratched in the side. That might have been a Nemo up there. Yeah, right on it. That's so not leave no trace or respectful. But the historic carvings around prehistoric sites are often very interesting and a record of times. There was one prehistoric building that had so many carvings around it from like the whole history of Glen Canyon. What was that place called? Anyway, looked at this in the previous video. Here's his journals. Everett Ruess, this interesting artist, photographer, lithographer, writer. His last journal was missing. It was in his saddlebags when he disappeared. That's, if you're into Everett Ruess, you're very interested in that last journal. Could it turn up somewhere? Surprised that Mormon bomber didn't plagiarize it. I mean, make forgery copies of it. But this book is very interesting because it's all these different theories of what happened. One is like the Kolb brothers, these photographers of the Grand Canyon, killed him. And it really, this book made made a lot of people angry, and it got negative reviews because it takes presumptions. And it's like, hey, you know those beloved historical figures, the Kolbs that established the first studio at Grand Canyon? They were murderers. Or David and Bessie Hine did it, this couple that disappeared. I don't know. I don't think that's one of them. Hey, look, tickets for Avatar 2. I really enjoyed that. My problem with the Avatar movies is like, you just built this beautiful world. You don't have to show it getting destroyed in all these movies. Just like, let us hang out there. Like, that's cool. Like, look at these beautiful, intelligent whale creatures. Now here they are getting killed. You just showed me this. Don't do that. From that kind of movie, I want something more eventful. I want it to be like a Brian Eno ambient song in filmic version. Terrence Malick directed sort of thing. Anyway, this is a cool book. It's kind of interesting. It's got some memorable stuff in it. If you're into Everett Ruess, it's definitely one for the collection. Something that will really get you into Everett Ruess is exploring Davis Gulch for yourself. If you ever get a chance to do a hike there, it's amazing. So this book is the product also of this issue of National Geographic Adventure, which I dug out of a closet. And this was so exciting when this came out. I had just seen this guy so clearly. It's crazy. I feel like I've glimpsed him across time and space. I've been so many of the places that he was. We've crossed paths so many times. I think about that chapter in The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury, where the Martian in the city, Martian city, when it's a vibrant, thriving place, and a human from later on when that city is a ruin and a human colony exists there, their times overlap. I feel like I experience that sometimes. Just like, the desert is so weird. It's such a strange landscape. Everett's face is just familiar to me. I know this guy. So this is the article that like announced a skeleton in the desert. Like, this mystery is solved. David Roberts, mentor of John Krakauer. A reason we know who John Krakauer is. Rock climber, wrote a very good memoir. Wrote a great book about the Pueblo Revolt. Wrote a book about the Escalante River and the Escalante Dominguez expedition of 1776. His memoir is good. Anyway, so this came out, and then the FBI went in, and they tromped around, and they really did damage the site and stuff, but they were like, it's not him, the DNA doesn't match. And it seemed like it was a surefire thing with that article. But so then he has since written this book, David Roberts, Finding Everett Ruess, where he talks about being foiled again. Here's a quote from Everett Ruess. I have not tired of the wilderness. Rather, I enjoy its beauty and the vagrant life I lead more keenly all the time. I prefer the saddle to the streetcar and the star-sprinkled sky to a roof, the obscure and difficult trail leading into the unknown to any paved highway, and the deep peace of the wild to the discontent bred by cities. Say that I starved, that I was lost and weary, that I was burned and blinded by the desert sun, footsore, thirsty, sick with strange diseases, lonely and wet and cold, but I kept my dream. Everett Ruess. He's awesome. He writes in this highfalutin high style. I love it. You know, I mean, he came from a bit of privilege so that he could even do this, but he quickly abandoned that privilege for real risk and danger in a really hostile, unexplored land. He's all, oh, the Great Depression is going on? Okay, I'm just going to disappear into the wilderness. I'm drunk on beauty. He's seriously, I love that stuff. It's great. Why do we read literature if we don't want to live on an elevated plane, you know? Everett's one of those great kindred spirits across time. I'd love to sit around a table with him and Chris McCandless, Van Gogh, and Dostoevsky, and Sappho. The kitchen light always reflects, and I always see motion in it, but there's no one there. Creepy. Good old Everett Ruess. Yep. I also have a lot of books that mention him, like a lot. Here's Hiking the Escalante. It has a chapter on Davis Gulch, sorry. I know that. And that's pretty cool. I only got this recently. I love the cover. That's so beautiful. Is that an Ansel Adams print? Sierra Club thing. Just really nice. Definitely evokes those Sierra Club books like The Place No One Knew. They were a whole vibe. I wish I owned more of them, and the posters of their covers, which are great.